One question would expose the most serious constitutional crime in Justice Department history within 47 seconds. January 7th, 2026. Senate Judiciary Committee hearing room buzzes with electric tension. Senator Dick Durbin sits at the committee table, his weathered hands resting on a thick folder marked Constitutional Violations, Federal Court Evidence. Camera crews position equipment with precision, press gallery packed beyond capacity with reporters sensing something explosive. Everyone expects routine oversight questioning about Justice Department policies and prosecutorial priorities. What they don't know is that Durbin discovered court documents proving Attorney General Pam Bondi committed constitutional treason by backdating federal prosecutor appointments to cover up illegal prosecutions. This isn't political theater. This is documented constitutional crime carrying life imprisonment. At the mahogany witness table, Pam Bondi maintains calculated confidence, black suit professional, hands folded precisely. Behind her sit Justice Department legal advisors, whose briefing folders contain standard talking points about prosecutorial independence and constitutional authority. None realize they're about to witness the most serious constitutional violation in modern American history, exposed through federal court records. Bondi radiates authority from decades surviving legal warfare. She believes she's prepared for aggressive Democratic questioning about Trump loyalty and Justice Department independence. Her legal team briefed her on potential areas of inquiry: civil rights enforcement, immigration prosecutions, January 6th investigations. She has absolutely no idea that one question about court documents will destroy her career and expose constitutional treason that could send her to federal prison for life. Durbin opens the folder with deliberate ceremony. Attorney General Bondi. Durbin begins with prosecutorial calm developed through decades in constitutional law. Are you familiar with federal court case number 25 CR 1847, filed in the District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia? Specific case number. Direct approach. Bondi shifts slightly, calculating her response strategy. Senator, the Justice Department handles thousands of federal cases. I would need to review specific case details to provide accurate information. Let me refresh your memory. Durbin raises a document with federal court letterhead clearly visible to cameras. Official seals mark every page. This is a court filing dated November 10th, 2025. United States versus political defendants. Are you familiar with this prosecution? Bondi's response timing extends beyond normal. Press gallery leans forward, sensing vulnerability. Without reviewing complete case materials, I cannot comment on specific ongoing prosecutions. This case isn't ongoing anymore, Attorney General. It collapsed. Durbin's voice carries prosecutorial authority. It collapsed because of what you did. He lifts another document. Federal court order dated December 15th, 2025. Quote, "The prosecution is hereby dismissed due to fundamental constitutional defects in prosecutor appointment procedures." End quote. $200 million prosecution. Dismissed. Constitutional defects. Attorney General Bondi, the prosecutor handling this case, was never properly appointed under the United States Constitution. When that came to light, what did you do? The question hangs in the committee chamber like a loaded weapon. Constitutional violations don't just end careers, they result in federal prison sentences. Bondi's hands tighten imperceptibly. Senator, prosecutor appointment procedures involve complex constitutional and administrative considerations, requiring proper legal analysis. You're right about complex constitutional considerations. Durbin's voice rises with controlled authority. The Appointments Clause of the Constitution is very clear. Federal prosecutors must be properly appointed through specific constitutional procedures. No exceptions. Another document emerges from his folder. This is your signature on a document dated November 15th, 2025, 5 days after the constitutional defect was discovered. What does this document do? Bondi stares at the paper with growing alarm. I would need legal counsel to review any documents before commenting. You are legal counsel, Attorney General. You're the chief law enforcement officer of the United States. This document retroactively appoints the prosecutor 5 days after his illegal actions were exposed. The implications hit the chamber like a nuclear explosion. Retroactive appointment after constitutional violations were discovered. You tried to fix a constitutional crime by backdating documents. That's not legal procedure, Attorney General. That's federal document fraud. Durbin's nuclear evidence emerges, court documents proving systematic constitutional violation and cover-up. This is the federal court's response to your backdating attempt, filed December 1, 2025. Quote, the Department of Justice's attempt to retroactively validate unconstitutional prosecutor appointments is unauthorized, improper, and potentially criminal. Constitutional violations cannot be cured through subsequent documentation. End quote. Federal court, potentially criminal. The language devastates. The court didn't just reject your backdating, Attorney General. They called it potentially criminal. A federal judge said you committed potential crimes trying to cover up constitutional violations. Bondi's composure cracks visibly. Water glass trembles in her hands. Senator, constitutional appointment procedures involve complex legal interpretations that reasonable people can disagree about. Constitutional treason isn't a matter of interpretation. Durbin leans forward with prosecutorial precision. You knew the prosecutor was unconstitutionally appointed. You knew his actions violated the Constitution. Instead of acknowledging the violation, you tried to cover it up through document fraud. He produces another devastating piece of evidence. Internal Justice Department emails obtained through federal court order. November 12, 2025, from you to Deputy Attorney General. Quote, we cannot allow this constitutional defect to become public. Prepare retroactive appointment documents immediately. Backdate them to before the prosecution began. End quote. Premeditated cover-up, documented in government emails. We cannot allow this constitutional defect to become public. Your own words, Attorney General. You knew it was constitutional violation. You decided to hide it instead of fixing it. The chamber falls silent as the implications sink in. This isn't administrative error. This is systematic constitutional crime with written evidence. But here's what makes this constitutional treason. Durbin continues with devastating calm. You didn't just violate the Constitution once. You did it systematically. Multiple prosecutions, multiple illegal appointments, multiple cover-ups. He opens a thick binder. 17 separate cases, 17 unconstitutionally appointed prosecutors, 17 attempts at retroactive documentation, all bearing your signature. 17 cases, systematic pattern, premeditated constitutional crime. This isn't mistake, Attorney General. This is constitutional treason. You systematically violated the Constitution, then systematically tried to cover it up through federal document fraud. Bondi attempts desperate deflection. Senator, prosecutorial appointment procedures require complex coordination between multiple Justice Department components. Stop. Durbin's voice cuts through her excuse with prosecutorial finality. Federal court records show you received written legal advice that these appointments were unconstitutional. You proceeded anyway. Then you tried to cover it up. Another document surfaces. Legal memo from Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel, dated October 30th, 2025. Quote, proposed prosecutor appointments violate Appointments Clause. Proceeding without proper constitutional authority would invalidate all subsequent prosecutions. Your signature acknowledges receipt. Written warning, constitutional violation. Proceeded anyway. You received explicit warning that proceeding would violate the Constitution. You ordered the prosecutions anyway. When it collapsed, you tried to cover it up through document fraud. Each count of constitutional violation carries 20 years in federal prison. 17 violations. That's 340 years maximum sentence. Add document fraud, obstruction of justice, conspiracy against constitutional rights, you're looking at life imprisonment without possibility of parole. The mathematics of justice. Life imprisonment for constitutional treason. Durbin gathers his evidence with methodical precision. This committee refers these court records to the Senate Ethics Committee for immediate investigation. We're requesting criminal referral to an independent prosecutor for constitutional treason, federal document fraud, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy to violate constitutional rights. Your career as Attorney General ends today. Your federal prison sentence begins the moment you leave this chamber. Security personnel move toward the witness table as senators demand immediate prosecution. Bondi sits motionless, her constitutional crimes exposed through federal court evidence she cannot dispute. The American people watching understood perfectly. The nation's chief law enforcement officer had systematically violated the Constitution, then tried to cover it up through federal document fraud. 17 separate violations, written evidence of premeditation, federal court confirmation of criminal conduct. One question exposed 17 constitutional crimes. 47 seconds destroyed a career built on systematic constitutional treason. Federal court records proving everything. Within hours, #constitutional traitor and #Bondi document fraud dominated social media trending. CNN interrupted programming. Breaking, Attorney General caught in constitutional treason. Fox News struggled to defend documented federal court evidence of systematic constitutional violation. Legal experts across party lines confirmed the devastation. Constitutional law professors called it the most serious violation of constitutional authority in Justice Department history. Federal judges issued statements supporting congressional oversight of constitutional compliance. Durbin had exposed fundamental truth about constitutional government. When law enforcement officers systematically violate the Constitution, then cover it up through document fraud, they commit constitutional treason against the American people. No office grants immunity from constitutional compliance. 17 constitutional violations, federal court documentation, systematic cover-up through backdated documents. One question that exposed it all. Constitutional treason proven beyond doubt.